time right now. We're going to quickly go on to the next speaker, Rahama Wright, and to introduce her, I'm going to play this amazing video that really does show testament to the work that she's doing. So let me go ahead and get that started.
Shailene is a company I started after serving in the Peace Corps. I was assigned to work at a community health center. And frequently, women would come into my health center and leave unable to buy medicine. So I started researching income generating activities. This is when I started learning about this product right here. This is the shea seed. And this seed is found in a fruit, and this fruit grows on a tree exclusively in sub-Saharan Africa. What we do is we help women take shea seeds and turn it into shea butter products. And these products are not only amazing in terms of being natural, organic, using pure ingredients, but they're also a source of living wages for the women who are the backbone of the shea industry. My name is Rahama Wright, and I invite you to the Shailene family, where we create better butter for better lives.
Please join me in welcoming Rahama Wright. Rahama, you have the floor.
Hi, my name is Rahama Wright. We are in the building, and we're about to head into a conference.
Okay, your other video popped up. So yes, please go on.
Oh, good morning, Twain. How are you?
Doing great. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thought I would bring in some color.
Love it. Love it.
Hi, everyone. I know we are, some folks it's the morning, some folks it's the afternoon, some folks it's evening time. So wherever you are, I hope you are well. And I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Toyin, for inviting me. And I'm not sure what happened to my video.
Just lost. Okay, you're back.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. But I have a really short presentation, so I'll go ahead and open and share my screen.
Rahama, it's taking you, I think it's taking your video off and on. We just lost your video again.
Oh, hold, okay. Can you see me now?
Yes, but okay.
I'm going to share a very quick presentation. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. The joys of technology. So this morning, I really wanted to talk with you and your audience about not only trade with Africa, but using Shailene as a business case in terms of what we're doing with entrepreneurs. So Shailene is a DC-based social impact beauty business I started. And essentially our company sits at the intersection of US-Africa trade policy, supply chain development, value-added manufacturing, agribusiness, and women's economic empowerment. And with sitting at that intersection in 2014, as part of the Obama administration, I was appointed to the Presidential Advisory Council on Doing Business in Africa. And what this council does, it provides recommendations on two-way trade engagement between the US and African countries via the Department of Commerce and up to the US president. It started with 15 members. Now there are 26 members ranging from a variety of businesses, business sector, business size. And about 2 weeks ago, we did our report back to Secretary Ross. And it's been a tremendous opportunity for me in my role as an entrepreneur working on economic development at a very rural grassroots level to really elevate the experiences, the roles, and the priorities, particularly for women in rural communities on the continent. So a lot of people know about PAC-DBIA, but I think a new initiative that some people might be unfamiliar with is Prosper Africa, which I think is a really important and timely initiative that essentially consolidates all USG agencies that provide resources on how best to engage private sector, government, public on trade in Africa and with Africa. And in my presentation, I have really quick links where folks can follow up and go to those sites for more information. And part of our recommendations, the PAC-DBIA most recent recommendations, was an analysis of Prosper Africa and providing feedback to all the interagencies that are part of it in terms of how they can incorporate some of the priorities that we think are important in terms of really making Prosper Africa a successful initiative. So I know, Toyin, you love AGOA, and we had so much conversations on AGOA. And I'm not sure, I know that there are policymakers as well as private sector folks who are here. So some people might already know what AGOA is. I mean, it's been around since 2000, so I'd be surprised if people don't know about AGOA. But it was passed by Congress in 2000. It was reauthorized in 2015 for 10 years, so it's expiring in 5 years. And essentially, it is the longest trade policy with the continent, between the US and the continent. Right now, 38 countries are eligible. And essentially what it is it allows for duty-free trade with countries that meet very specific and strict eligibility. So Shea Lean benefits from AGOA simply because we work in Ghana and we work and export a raw material, well, a value-added material from Ghana to the US market. So this trade policy, even though it's between countries, as a business owner, as you know, a company that's doing trade with an African country that is eligible, we benefit and don't have to pay duty on our imports to the US. So in terms of 2019 data, I cannot find 2019 data, and I believe, we're typically about a year behind, but there are a lot of criticisms with AGOA, right? People say it's primarily for oil, it's not really benefiting non-oil products. So I wanted to focus on non-energy products and the countries that are importing or exporting to the US. And so South Africa is top, Kenya, and as we know, right now our government is into discussions with government for the TFA. And Lesotho, Ethiopia, Madagascar, and Mauritius. These are the top countries that are exporting non-energy products. And the majority of those products are textiles, minerals, chemicals, and agriculture. But when I was looking at the information, there's definitely such tremendous opportunity for more products to be exported out across much more diverse sector of industries. So this really flows into why I created Shea Lean. And our mission is really simple. We help women in cooperatives in Northern Ghana across 14 villages organize. We give them access to capital. We give them access to production equipment, access to the full scope of what they will need to create a value-added product that we import to the US. We then do our packaging. We do our packaging in the US and distribution in the US, even though we do ship orders internationally. Most of our wholesale retail accounts are in the US. And I think it is so important that we recognize, yes, there are trade policies, yes, there are programs, but at the end of the day, if everyday people do not use these programs, they essentially are for naught. And so my position is a policy can only be as effective as the people who use it. And so I am an avid proponent for us, especially people in the diaspora, to engage, create businesses, engage with our communities of origin, engage with our countries that we come from, and really leverage the fact that we have the ability, to be in 2 worlds, in some cases to be in 3 worlds, and use these resources to not only to our benefit, but to the benefit of the communities. And for me, it's all about women. you know, I'm Ghanaian American. I've seen the challenges directly on women not being able to access certain resources. For example, my mother, because she was a girl child, you know, growing up in the 50s and 60s, she wasn't allowed to go to school. She came from a very traditional family who wanted her to marry very young. And so I've seen that impact. Even in my own family. And I know that with the audience, especially those of us who are of African origin, we see it, whether it's not our direct mom or dad, but if it's our aunties or, you know, our uncles, our extended family, we see the impact. We're living these legacies. And a lot of these legacies, we have to be honest, are embedded in colonialism. And so for me, empowering women, supporting women, developing women entrepreneurs, connecting women to global markets, this is why I get up every single day. This is so incredibly important to me. And the data is there to back it up. Women are the future. I mean, honestly, I say women are the present. Women make up 80% of Africa's informal economy, yet only participate in the formal economy at a rate of only 30%. We need to improve that. And African businesses with the highest number of women, and this is not even African businesses, this is businesses anywhere. If you incorporate women into leadership positions, you are more profitable. Data backs this up. And so for us, how do we do that? Shailene does that by value addition. It's simple. When you look at the seeds on the left side, and then you look at the final product on the right side, that's our value. We're helping women transform these seeds, turn it into a value-added product, and then we bring that product to the US marketplace. And what does that mean in real numbers? It means that women are increasing their income 5 times their country's minimum wage. This is giving them the ability to live at a higher standard. It's giving them the ability to do things like send their kids to school. It's giving them the ability to invest in other income generating activities. It provides them the opportunity to get access to health services. It changes lives. And the thing is, I'm not here in America just enjoying, having a great time. Again, my focus and my commitment is the women in my supply chain. I've brought them here to the US. And we all know getting a visa from Africa to America is almost like selling your firstborn child. It's so difficult. But we were able to do 2 really successful programs where we brought our cooperative members to the US, where they went into the store, they saw the products on shelf, the products that they make with their own hands. And to me, that is where transformation happens. When it's not just about being in the village in Africa, and then you have, you know, people who have the ability, who are more wealthy, who get these opportunities. No, meeting people exactly where they are, and exposing them and giving them the opportunity to understand the entire value chain, to understand what it's like to talk to a Whole Foods buyer, what is it like to tell your story to a customer. When Gladys and Joanna came to the US, we toured 26 stores in the North Atlantic region of Whole Foods. We did a program with 2 different universities, and we also did programming in Washington, DC. Within it was about 4.5 weeks, we were in DC, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York City, Hartford, Connecticut. And this gave them, I rented a car and we just drove to all of these small towns and cities. And this gave them the ability to experience the market for themselves. So when they're in their communities with the other cooperative members, they can share the story from their perspective. And that is where I believe diaspora partnership is so key to impact, because we can position ourselves as the connector, as the facilitator. And that's what the Shailene brand is all about. So now that we've been able to show this model, so we sell our products in Whole Foods markets, we have a contract with MGM Resorts, we've done really great, interesting partnerships with local DC government, where we've sold our products at the Washington National Airport. So now I'm looking at growing to other African countries and ethically sourcing from Senegal, Uganda, Chad, South Sudan, Morocco. And so that's part of our growth plan. Now we have a model that works, expand it to other countries. And why is this so important? And why am I excited about it? And I could talk about it for hours and hours and hours. This is about generational empowerment. Generational empowerment. And, you know, for me, it's so important that, to the previous speaker who was just talking, it's so important that we not only get in the game and think big, but we realize what is at stake. What is at stake is African generations. What is the legacy we are building? What is the legacy for our children and our grandchildren? And we need to wake up and recognize that we have to participate in trade in a way that's impactful, in a way that is trickling down financial benefit to the most isolated, and not only isolated, but overlooked communities. And that's where real change is going to happen. So I'm excited to hop into a Q&A. I'm sure folks have some questions, but you know, I'm really, Toyin, excited about what you're doing and what you've been doing to really create these opportunities for people to engage in trade in a way where it is, apologies, I don't think my video is working. Yeah, it keeps hopping in and out.
I think one way to fix it might be at the very bottom. You want to lock in the camera. Your computer is fighting with your camera pretty much. So I think at the lower left hand, there's a camera. If you can open the arrow and make sure you select which camera you want it to stay with.
Yeah, I did that. I think it's actually, I'm not sure if you know this, we have really bad storms here. So yeah, there have been like tornadoes and storms. So I think it might be part of the reason why my connection is not that great. I can log out and log back in if you want, or I can just chat via, and you guys just see my lovely picture.
The picture is absolutely lovely. And your voice is definitely powerful.
Oh, thank you.
You made me tear up. Okay.
No, this is so important to me. I mean, I see the way that my family's life has been transformed by a generation. I'm first generation American. The life my mother lived and the life I live is night and day. Could could she have ever imagined her child would be on an advisory council supporting the first Black president in America from where she came? No. But in a generation, my family's life has changed. So it's my responsibility to help other people change their generations. That is our birthright as Africans. And I'm Pan-African. Yes, I'm Ghanaian American, but I'm Pan-African. I've traveled to 18 countries on the continent. I will travel to every single one before I die. Every country I go to, I have a connection to the people, every single one across the board. And we're in this together. We truly have to see this as not a Nigerian issue or Senegalese issue or Ghanaian issue or South Sudan issue or Ugandan issue. This is an African issue, and we are our own solutions. Yes, we need partners. Yes, we need to connect with, other groups in other countries, but this is our birthright. We're in charge of this. We control our progress. And it's about time. We have to do it. It's about time. It's taking too long. Hundreds of years, my friends, hundreds. And it's generational. When we start thinking from a generational perspective, I think that's when the mindset changes. I am doing this work for a generation. I'm not doing it for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, a generation. And when we look at it from that perspective, we realize that every day we have to work towards that. It's not a short-term thing. This is a long game. And when if I live to be 80 or 90 or however long I live, I really want to see that change on the continent, where we're not talking about the same things we were talking about in the 60s and 70s.
Wow. So I think you absolutely embody the passion the clarity, the focus, the vision, the tenacity, the passion, absolute passion that I know it takes to make a difference. And I want to congratulate you on your various successes and even your future successes. For sure, I'll be watching. I've been watching you from afar for a while. Such a pleasure. I know the other day you and I had a passionate engagement over the phone, and we were like, oh, okay, good. I would absolutely, if there's any way we can support you. First of all, I think one thing I would love to do is plug you in, your story, to certain key people on the continent, the African, because the work you're trying to do needs to be in front of some people. Because that's one of the things about this platform, is that I feel that I am privileged. Maybe it's a God-given gift. I know how to toot my own horn. I'm quite loud. I'm loud. I've come to just accept it as a gift. So I do know how to call attention to the work that I do, but I realized that the voice that I had and the network that I had and the talent I had, I strongly believe that God didn't give it to me just for me, just like what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's why I pretty much worked extremely hard to create this platform. Because I realized that we have individuals all over the world, frankly, amazing Africans all over the world doing incredible things.
Right.
I was asking myself, if we could all bring ourselves together,
right,
what a noise, what an impact that we could have on the world as a collective force.
Right.
So what this platform offers, a lot of things we offer, but one of the things we offer that is immediate is actually your story. Getting it out in front of the right people. And we've gotten feedback just from yesterday from our speakers and random people just saying, we saw you trade with Africa. Hey, we would love to connect. Hey, we would love to partner. And you see what's happening also on our virtual platform, the engagement. So for me personally, your story, I'm taking it on to bring it to the attention of certain key people. I know there are some key connections with that I make offline, but that would be my commitment, because you don't need me in terms of the work you're doing. You have a clear vision, you have everything, but I think the story, because you represent what we all should be pursuing, right? And your story is absolutely inspiring. It's motivational, and you have a very powerful story, but an even more powerful voice. And that's what I'm thinking about is, wow, how do we get that voice as part of the IATF 2021? How do we get our voice into the African Union? How do we get that voice into the, there's also a committee of the African Consul Generals in America that is chaired by the Consul General of Nigeria, who is also on our platform. Like, that is what I am immediately thinking right now. So I would love to take that with you offline. You have everything covered in terms of you have everything you need, especially your visibility and within the US government at the presidential level, at the, all the committees. You have a seat at the table. But I think on the African side, how do we get more African leaders to see the work that you've done? That's my own. I'm just thinking out loud right there.
Yeah, this is a brainstorming session. I didn't realize we were going to go into some,
Yes, I don't miss. I go straight to the. Like, that's me. I don't know.
Let me just tell you, your platform is really good. Like, I've spent some time on it and I think it's fantastic. It's really easy to use. It's beautiful. It's so, I know there are a lot of folks trying to do these platforms and engaging on technology, but I think that you did a really fantastic job. So congratulations.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'll be honest with you. we had to try different things, right? We actually funny enough, some people started with us on the WhatsApp group, you know, and low tech. It all started with, you know, when we started bringing people together, people were like, we flew in, we had this event, now we're gone. We met amazing people, we took their business card, but how can we stay connected? And we tried various options. So that wasn't like the first answer. And we actually started building it before COVID even happened for months. And then when COVID happened, I was like, okay, so COVID has helped accelerate the engagement that we're experiencing now. But I do appreciate that feedback. To be honest as well, it's just the beginning. It's not the final place we're going to be.
Yeah.
We're constantly
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not, yes, it's just a patchwork for today. But if you're listening, you know, he is like the genius in technology, and we're still looking for a better solution. But for now, it works, and I'm happy. So yes, you're popular. There are questions for you. Let me see which one I can take.
Oh yeah, yes.
One thing I also want to announce to everybody is that the next 10 minutes slot that I had prepared for Exim Bank, we actually have to cancel that. But last year, we have videos, like an hour-long video where, you know, representatives from Exim Bank in DC spent incredible time with us. We brought the African Export-Import Bank and then the US Export-Import Bank. I'll try and make that content available.
Okay.
So we had content already in terms of the resources that the Exim Bank provides and the US commercial services, because for our event, I always bring them on board to say, okay, what are the resources that the US government brings forward to support trade with Africa? Because the diaspora community oftentimes, even though I may have that access, they do not. So that's something we've partnered. So the first year we had USAID, USCDA, at that time, OPIC. So that's something I really do. So again, there's an hour-long, maybe an hour, 30 minutes even of various speakers, three different speakers from Export-Import Bank of America, discussing and showcasing even an example supplier that exports from US to Africa using some of their facilities and trade financing facilities. So I just wanted to say that because this event, they were just going to give us, okay, what next? They weren't really going to deep dive. So
Okay.
So we do have time to really go into one or two questions, and then we'll take a break. And I want us to be back quickly, but let's go to those questions. So, so Hala King said, Rahama, your work is amazing. Already, it is fantastic. So you're getting reviews. Okay. But I'm curious, do you participate in other grassroots charitable initiatives? Partners, do you partner with others to build schools in the local villages and stuff like that?
That's a great question. And my philosophy on that is people can build their own schools. They don't need other people to build it for them. If you are able to engage people in global trade where they're making living wages, where they are generating enough income for themselves and enough to save, they contribute to and create their own projects in their communities. So my vision is not to perpetuate the traditional nonprofit model and aid model that we typically look at when we are engaging with the continent. No, people don't need you to give them bikes if they have money to buy their own bikes. People will buy their own books, they'll build their own libraries, they'll build their own schools and hospitals if they are giving the resources themselves. So eventually, what I see happening is women, not only women, but men too, everyone that we work with, they are the ones who will be creating these changes in their communities. And I think it's really important that we shift it, because this is a mindset thing. This is truly a mindset thing. Africa is not poor, my friends. Africa is not poor. We need to stop thinking that we need other people to come into our communities and help us do basic things. We can do it ourselves if we are given the right resources, the right opportunities, if we are connected to markets, if we're able to use our own resources and benefit financially from those resources. And until we change that mindset, we're going to keep repeating these cycles that do not help us. It might help in the short term, But in the long term, I mean, think about the buy one, give one model, business models, you know, the Tom Shoes models, or, you know, some of these companies that if you buy one of their products, they'll give a product to a poor community. We've seen the data showing that actually impacts people in those very same communities creating their own businesses. So you, by giving away a shoe, are now putting a shoemaker in the local community out of business. Soap is inexpensive to make. Instead of giving people soap, give them the tools to make soap. And so I know where your question is going, but it's not my philosophy, nor the way that I think we advance on the continent.
Right. So what you just described, there's actually data that backs it up. I know in 2018, the former CEO of Tyson Foods and the advisor to the President Paul Kagame, they actually shared data that said, you know, because Donny Smith, and I've done interviews with him, the videos are available, where he ran a company of $40 billion agriculture business, but the project he's doing in Africa is actually at the very base of the pyramid, but he's teaching them practices to grow their own chicken. So he teaches them how to grow their own chicken. He gives them capital, and then they can also kind of micro loans. So it's also partnered with a microfinance bank where they can borrow few dollars, or I don't even know what's the conversion, to buy feed, to feed that livestock. And then 6 weeks after, 8 weeks after, you have the chicken lay the eggs, they sell the eggs, and then they get money. They get money back from the chicken, right? So this is not where, like you said, it's not like we're giving you food. No, they're actually teaching people how to farm, how to create money. And when they make money, they now also did a research that asks the women, what do you use that money to do? Okay. And the outcomes were, there were 3 things that came up. Number one, the first thing they do is they send their kids to school. In fact, not just send their kids to school, they actually employ teachers to give them extra training. So just beyond the school, they actually hire instructors to teach their students, right? To teach their kids. So not only are they just sending their kids to school, they are even positioning their kids to excel. So this is just by earning that extra income from the chicken and the eggs that they sell. The second thing that happened was they also felt like, just like anywhere else in the world, the funds were being used to buy chocolates, to, you know, more sugar. So that was a funny side of the research. So what you just said is the same philosophy that I subscribe to, and many others that are building sustainable businesses that has this combination of social impact. It's already tried and tested that just going somewhere and not building things that would outlast, it's not the future of Africa. The future of Africa is actually connecting them to global markets and to global markets, and then giving them that's true empowerment. Empowerment is not teaching people what to do with their money. It's saying we'll help you, connect you to the global market. What you do with your money is your business. And to your point, it's also showed, part of the data they also showed was that impacting and investing in women had greater impact on the community than men. That women actually plow that money back into education. So I just wanted to buttress the point that you make, that data actually supports what you just said. And I think that's the direction we should all be going. Not that not-for-profit doesn't have its place, absolutely, even in Chicago, even in New York. But if that's the only story that we are aligning Africa with, I know Dylan with his presentation first, he really hit some notes on that in terms of the investment community that I engage with. They run in parallel with the not-for-profit. They do not intersect. So if you approach an investor from an angle of, oh, impact, if impact is the first thing, they're like, what of return on investment? If you want me to donate money, go to my charity. But if you're looking for investment, we should be talking about commercial engagement. Like if I put $1 into Africa, what am I getting back? Yeah. So I think we have a fundamental, we have to fundamentally shift that narrative. Not as come and help Africa, no. In fact, What I also say is the same thing you just said. Africa is not poor. But what we have a challenge to do is converting God's given wealth, figuring out to convert it to man-made wealth. Everything we call civilized life today is man-made: electricity, power, light, all of those things we're craving for as Africans. They are all man-made, right? But God has enhanced, and there's no other rich continent like Africa's. And the problem we have, let me visually explain it. What you have is Congo, is somebody that has diamond in his backyard but doesn't have pipe water in their house. That's the problem, is that people are sitting on nature's wealth. They are sitting on nature's wealth, but they are struggling to have water, electricity, power, and to live the decent life that we're saying is possible. So it's the same message that I have. Africa is not poor, but we do have to master what the rest of the world has been able to do, converting our own resources to power the rest of the world. Africa, my dear friends, like Ra, I love that. It's that Africa has been powering the rest of the world with its natural resources. It's time for Africa to power itself with its own resources.
Absolutely.
We have abundance, 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 abundance of those resources. But one thing I also say is that just like the California gold rush, you could hear about the California gold rush. You could show up, you could travel, you could show up. But if you don't have the right tools, the pickaxes, the shovels to dig for gold, get gold and know how to sell the gold, all you'll be doing is talking about California gold rush, and you will not participate. Right now, we have an Africa gold rush. But if you do not acquire the knowledge, the expertise, the right network, the right information, you'll be talking about it. This conference may not make that difference. So for me, again, what Rahama just said about the poverty mindset, I hope everybody that would ever watch this video would realize that Africa is not poor. No, but we do want to learn how to power our continent with our own resources.
Absolutely.
So on that note, I want to stop there. I see more questions. Just like I did yesterday, I'm going to try and capture all the questions and move it to the platform. Ms. Rahama has graciously joined the platform, so I'm sure she'll be diving into those questions and engaging directly. But it's been absolutely an honor to help facilitate this amazing, incredible, life-changing, life-transforming engagement. So one thing we want to do now, and I'm looking at my, okay, I have so many pieces of paper going. So